Oh, I wanted to ask if this is true, because someone was trying to convince me the other night that those stories of like bricks being left off in neighborhoods where protests, has that been substantiated?
I lived in New York during that time. It was during the whole there was the BLM protests. Yeah, it was during the BLM protests, and without a doubt, there was just fucking huge piles of fucking bricks in multiple places in New York City. I saw it with my own eyes. Weird. Just there was no construction happening. There would just be a fucking massive stack of heavy fucking cement bricks.
Jesus.
And it was out of nowhere. Somebody put them there. As it relates, just side note, I remember one time.
Before the riots, had you ever noticed piles of bricks, like construction sites?
You would see a construction site and you would see, but they always, with a construction site, and once again, I smoke a lot of weed in public, so we were always looking for like back alleys and shit to smoke weed in, stairwells. I used to sell comedy club tickets on the street. That's how I got my start in comedy in New York City all throughout the early 2000s. And you can't really get into construction sites. It's always chained off. They always have the sites are pretty controlled because people will steal shit.
Right,
you know?
Of course. You wouldn't just leave your bricks out. Bricks are valuable.
Yeah.
Because then if someone's coming home, they go, look, there's a fucking pallet of bricks here.
Dude.
Grab them.
That was definitely true. And I don't know, the conspiracy.
So you saw more than one of those
More
piles?
than one, with my own eyes.
Wow. Because I was having this conversation. I was like, was that real? Like, why did I hear that some of that was bullshit? But
because
I didn't look into it.
The conspiracy was that.
Into it.
Sorry, the conspiracy was that like the police were leaving it out, or right wingers were leaving it out, so BLM protesters would use it and look worse. That was one of the theories.
Huh. Was there another theory that they wanted to accelerate the possibility of chaos by giving people readily available weapons? That's the better theory.
This would add to the conspiracy for sure.
NYPD commissioner says bricks are being placed and then transported to peaceful protests. What?
And
Councilman then calls them construction debris. What?
I also saw a bunch of BLM protests, and they were legitimately peaceful.
I'm sure.
The ones in New York City were like, it was, they were just protesting. They were banging fucking drums.
Yo, that's crazy. They just left bricks out there? What is that?
That's definitely different than all the other stuff we saw, where it was like in giant pallets.
Yeah, they were
right, but this is plenty of rocks that someone just dropped off and left with the box tops open.
Yeah. You remember people were putting like rocks in milkshakes because the whole thing was
construction debris.
Throw milkshakes at like people?
At Nazis, yeah. Jesus Christ, man. This is insane.
But it's like, yeah, I mean, and I think the internet is a big part of the hysteria. People get worked up. People just didn't, if you have to give a fuck, right? Before you had to get a book or you had to go like really research some shit, right? You had to go out, if you cared about something, or you had to care. You had to really put in the footwork and physically care. Now people can sort of pretend to care while they're just being addicted to their phone, while they're being addicted to Twitter and all these other social media platforms, and they're being tricked into just, looking at advertising because that's what it's all about. They get to also pretend that they care. They get to feel like they're doing something. And then it just starts to snowball. And then it turns into fucking like real chaos. And people at each other's throats about shit that people don't even really give a fuck about. If you go to the supermarket, like people are just cool. Like in real life, you go to the supermarket, nobody gives a fuck about who voted for who. Nobody cares about, what your political beliefs are. We just coexist and we do what we do in real life. And then we jump on the internet and we just fucking, it's a war.
Well, I think it's also got exacerbated during the pandemic, right? Because everybody was stayed in. They were at home. Their anxiety's high. They didn't know if they're going to be able to work again. Like, who knows what the fuck's going to happen?
Yeah.
People were freaked out. And then they got more freaked out on social media. And you're on it all day because you don't have a job. You're at home now. So that you're just kind of fucking weirding out in front of your Twitter all day. People